I know I am very tardy to the party here. The 3.0 update just came out, Lahiroi is here, and everyone is hyped for that, as am I. But I realized I never made a review for Renacita in any of 2.x, so I'm going to right that wrong today. There's so much to talk about, however, that I will be splitting this up into two videos. The video you're watching will be about Ragunna and the patches that came with that. The next video will be about Septimont and all the patches that came with that. Long story short, Renacita is so much better than Huanlong, leagues better. If you haven't seen my 1.x review, I said that the storytelling, most times even the story, were not that great. There were only a few quests that I liked and that was memorable. When I went to Renacita, I immediately noticed a difference in storytelling, pacing, the story in general. Everything was just way better. From the first act, I knew the story had improved. We were already getting some of the history of this place when we didn't even get that in Huanlong till Act 5. It helped me get immersed immediately, and in a story-driven game like this, being immersed is incredibly important. It wasn't anything mind-blowing, but it was a major improvement to the start of Huanlong. Act 2 was the first time I truly felt immersed, especially at that vault section. I loved that vault section, it was so fun. That chandelier scene, it felt like Carlotta was in a spy movie. I adored it. I genuinely hated the Order, and genuinely hating a fictitious group of people is a sign of a good story, so I was very happy with it. Act 3 was amazing. The Carnival and Falova fight was so good, and I was officially sold on this game from that moment onwards. The story isn't perfect, there are some problems. The Fool's Elysium section was longer than I would like, and the Dragon of Dirge was way easier than the rest of the bosses. I don't know why it was, but there was an epic lead up only for it to be beat in 30 seconds. It was a little anticlimactic. Other than that, Act 3 was amazing, and when I finished it, I couldn't wait to play Act 4. Act 4 is what I have wanted from a gacha story ever since Honkai Impact 3rd Chapter 25. It is magnificent, the best quest in the game so far. Kurtathea was adorable. The amount of expressions she showed throughout the quest made my jaw drop. It's incredible how attached I was to her just after 3 hours. Her story was really sad, but also really interesting and triumphant because at the end she won and we freed her, and I was so happy for her. This quest was the first time Rover was fully voiced, and I must say this was the best quest to start doing that. It made the already fantastic quest so much better. I liked Cantarella's involvement. I thought she was going to be like Chain Li in Act 7 of Huanlong, where she takes us to the new area, joins us for a bit, but then dips and we never see her again. For a while, I thought they were doing that with Cantarella, but they kept bringing her up throughout the quest. She was even in the climax of the quest right before the final boss, and I loved that she was involved. It made it feel like we were all in this together and that everyone in this story was working towards the same goal, and it made it more impactful for me. All of this is why it's my third favorite quest in the game. And the reason why I say third is 2 quests in Septimont ended up being better than this one, but that's for the next video. I do have one small issue with the quest though. The Imperator died at the end of Act 4. We did have a chat with it before it died, but it was only about the mission and the plan for the Threnodian. We learned nothing new about ourselves, which is the entire reason we went to Renacita. Correction, it is the second reason we went to Renacita. The main reason was to fix Abby, which we did do in Act 4, but we also didn't learn anything new about ourselves, which was a bit disappointing. In the prologue, the Rover of the past told us to seek out Imperator because Rover made a pact with it long ago. We found it and learned nothing. We're just as lost as we were in Huanlan about our identity. In terms of the companion quests, they were way better than Huanlan's, but I still wouldn't say I loved them. I still think the companion quests are my least favorite part of the game, but they did improve and I enjoyed them more. Let's start with the ones I didn't like. Roshia's quest reminded me a lot of Lin Yan's quest because this wasn't really Roshia's quest. We are helping NPCs the whole time and Roshia's just our sidekick. Just like Lin Yan's, the quest briefly goes into her past at the end via a quick cutscene, but that's all you get. I do think there was a good story here. The majority of the quest talks about how bad and traumatic the pilgrimages were for the Ragunna, but the storytelling of the quest was Huanlan level. They kept telling you how bad and how tough it was for everyone, but it doesn't show you any of it. Secondly, like I said for Lin Yan's quest, make it about the actual character. Making the quest about these NPCs we don't care about and that we'll never see again is not that enjoyable. I feel like what they could have done to improve this quest is make it about Roshi's experience with the pilgrimage, and then through her story, we can imagine how other people felt during pilgrimages. The next one I didn't like may be a bit controversial, but I didn't like Carlotta's quest. I know a lot of people love this one. My main issue with it is the length. This quest is 2.5 hours long, which is way too long. If this quest was shorter, I would have liked it way more, especially since I thought the latter half of the quest was so much better. The Sonosphere, her mirror self, and the final confrontation was all pretty good. The cutscene at the end was also sick. The first hour of the quest felt like it really dragged, and the story was good, but was it 2.5 hours good? The story is about this guy who betrayed the Montelli family and embezzled funds from them, and that is an interesting story, but you didn't have to drag it out for that long. Like I said, the main issue is the length. The story really dragged in the first half. If this quest was 40 minutes shorter and they cut out some fluff, this would have been way better. Zani's quest was mid. There were parts about it I liked and didn't like. Most of the quest was kinda slow. It was Rover and Zani meandering around, asking questions and searching in the sewers, but the final confrontation with Talos was so sick. Zani's voice actress was amazing here. The animation was great. The ending of this quest was the best ending of all the companion quests. It was so cool. I don't have a lot to say about Zani's quest other than that. The beginning and middle were slow, but the ending was incredible. Now I'm going to talk about the quests I liked, starting with Brant. I get why some people might not rock with this one. This is very different from any other quest in the game. This is a very serious game. This is an unserious quest. It's mainly Rover and Brant goofing off for an hour and 20 minutes finding treasure. I liked it though. It's nice to have some lighthearted fun in between all of the sadness of the main quests. I love dumb humor, and this quest had dumb humor, so it felt like it was made for me. They called the thief Swiper. How could you not love that? I also like the allegory of having to lose your heart for the treasure. I feel like a lot of corporations have done that nowadays. Brant is a fun and charismatic character, so he was a good choice for the one unserious quest in this game, and it wasn't too long. Cantarella's quest was very good. I loved this one. It's about these unethical trials that the Phasaelius have to go through because of a curse placed on them by the Threnodian. The story was very interesting. The pacing was really good. The ending kinda confused me, but I didn't really care because the rest of the quest was really fun. I also really appreciate that they mixed in some extra lore about Act 4 in the main story. Cantarella reveals that she wasn't just up in the Avenolium to save Ragunna like me and Carthea were, but she was also up there to try and dismantle the curse placed on them for centuries. It's just a little thing, it doesn't change the main story much, we did not need to know that, but the fact that Kuro put that in there reminded me that they really care about their story and want their story to be as understandable and digestible as possible, so kudos to Kuro for that. Out of all the companion quests in the game, this is the best one. Last but not least, we have Shikona's quest. It was good. Not as good as Cantarella's quest, but still good. Her quest was actually called a main story event because in 2.3 they started mixing the main story and companion quests together. I was down for that because I like the main story more anyways, and it was fun. I liked seeing more of Cristoforo. I really like Shikona as a character, mostly because she's not afraid to tell the truth, even when it means she's a criminal. It was very satisfying when Rover and Shikona told the citizens the truth and then fled when the Order came. I know the Order aren't the villains, they are getting tricked by the Thermodian, but still they're so confidently wrong and judgmental that it's hard not to dislike them, you know? Ragunna is breathtaking, easily the best environment in the game so far. It's going for a fantasy/wonderland vibe, and Kuro did a great job with it. There's a vault hovering above the sky, which is cool enough on its own, but if you do an exploration quest, the vault gets gigantic wings. I don't know why either, but it's really cool, so I like it. There's a maze, there's a place where the entire sky is different, so it looks like you just went to another dimension. There's an upside down tower in the sky. Come on, that's so cool! I'm going to spoil this for you right now. Septimont is cool, but not as cool as Ragunna. Ragunna is the best location in the game yet. Kuro confirmed that every time we move to a new region, we will get brand new ways of traversal, and for Rinasida, we got flight and wind rays. Wind rays are pretty much just anchoring points that move, and yet that doubles the fun of the grappling mechanic somehow. I really enjoy grappling onto those and just taking in the sights as it takes me high up into the air. It's really fun. But what's even better is the flying, especially when you find out you can go way up into the air with it, looking down at the entire region below while you are way high in the air is just an incredible experience. I didn't talk about this in my Huanlan review, but they make songs for every update, full-length songs with lyrics, and sometimes they go all out for it. That was already impressive because I've never seen a gacha game do that before. That's a lot of work. Then in 2.0, they started putting the names of the resonators in the titles, and there would be multiple songs for one update, and that's when I realized, oh my word, they started making songs for every resonator in this game. Everyone has their own theme song now, basically. That is an insane amount of work, and to me, it shows how much Kuro cares about this game and wants it to succeed, which makes me love it even more. I just had to talk about this because I think this is an amazing thing that Kuro is doing, and my music-loving heart is adoring it. Next thing you're going to tell me is Carthea has 2 songs instead of 1. What was that? Oh, there's 3? What? The last 2 things I want to talk about are 2.1 and 2.3, because I did promise I would talk about every patch, and that includes the fillers. 2.1 was decent. It introduced the Racholi Islands, which are as pretty as the rest of Ragunna, so Kuro gets a point for that. The dredge-style minigame is fun, but got boring for me after 3 hours. There's technically a story in this patch, but it's very lackluster and it doesn't really do much for the main story. It's clearly just a side thing. While 2.1 will go on the lower end of my 2.x patch ranking, it is a fun patch, which is more than I can say for 2.3. 2.3 is a rare Kuro L in my opinion. Besides 2 companion quests in some events that were fun but got boring fast, there was nothing to do in this patch. The patch that was supposed to be the big 1-year anniversary patch. It's not just the lack of content, it's the way they handled it as well that put a bad taste in people's mouth. It felt more like an anniversary for people that just started playing, as opposed to people who have been there for a year. The anniversary banners were also kind of crazy. There were 12 banners, but all of them were 50-50 and they only gave you 30 pulls. Not to mention Hard Pity was still 80 pulls. It's the equivalent of giving you 12 cards, but not giving you the keys to any of them. You'd have to be very fortunate to even get one character. They did give us 30 more pulls after Backlash. I liked the response time. They gave us this 2 days after the live stream, which is really fast. But of those 30 pulls, only 10 of them were for the characters and 10 were for the weapons. 10 extra pulls isn't a lot. You'd still have to be very fortunate to get one character, so I don't think it was enough. The entirety of 2.3 was a mess. The only good thing about it was the main story event. As I said, they started combining the companion and main quests together. But I'll talk more about that in my Septimont video. I feel a little bad because I predict when the second anniversary rolls around, we're just going to be breathing down their necks 24/7. But hey, they made their bed. I got Zani's weapon from the 10 pull they gave us, though, so that's a silver lining. That's all for my review of the Ragunna patches. This game just got so good from 2.x onwards. It's evolving at such a rapid pace that it went from a decent but disappointing game into something that I couldn't wait to play more of. If you like this review, like the video and subscribe. I'm reviewing Septimont next, and you won't want to miss that. In the meantime, why not see how I felt about Huanlan? Have a great day, and I will see you guys in Septimont.